Hey folks, it's Autumn from the blog at traditionallife.com and welcome to this Homestead Pantry organizing and cleaning video. I have not done anything in this room since the fall when my baby was born. We are now going into summer. It desperately needs to be cleaned out. I have a rule of thumb that when the first asparagus of the year gets canned up and put away, my canning room, my pantry, which is the part I'm in right now, all this has to be cleaned up and organized. I need to have an inventory of my jars, my canning supplies, fermenting stuff, freezing, dehydrating, all of that. I like to make sure everything is set and ready to go before I go into the harvest season, whether that's canning lids, sorting jars according to mouth size, whether that's just going through and making sure I have freezer bags or whatever I need to put up food for our family. So as you can see behind me here, it looks like a cyclone went through here. I'm rather embarrassed to show it to you, but this is just the way it is. So come along with me and let's organize and clean out our canning room and pantry. All right, y'all, this is bad. All right, that is all recycling. Can you believe it? We've got recycling to take out. We've got shelving to wipe down, freezers. You can see my corner shelf here. I've got squash bowls, baskets to sort. We've got a random assortment of things up there. And then my canning room is a mess. Look at this. So we need to do some sorting. We need to go through all the old potato sacks. We need to sort out the beets, get them washed up. That's the last of our root vegetables. I also need to sort all these canning jars, get the same size mouths in one place. And then I need to get the old last year's canned food, get it all collected to one spot so that we can make sure to use it up this year and nothing goes to waste. I can't believe I let our recycling build up to this level. Usually we have one bin, haul it in when it's full, but it is what it is. So we're going to just separate everything here so it's easy to just haul out and take straight to the recycling center. We'll just shove everything outside for now, and tomorrow I will take it in and recycle it all. But right now we just need to clear it so we have space to work. This corner shelf is where I will store winter squash, my onions, my garlic throughout the year. It's spring now, so it's empty. We actually have some of my man's beekeeping equipment that somehow got in here that needs to go out to our mudroom where we store it. I like to just lift up the papers in the spring, clean everything off, and give everything a little bit of a wipe down just to lift the dust and get the spider webs out. I like knowing everything is fresh and clean for going into the new harvest season. So we're going to just put some things back on the top shelf, and then I am actually going to reline these shelves with paper. Now these are just feed sacks from our bulk grains that we bring in, and I like to just cut them up and line them. This is where I store things like squash, onions, garlic, and things. If they are rotting and breaking down, you will actually see the liquid sooner if you have paper down. It spreads more on paper and paper soaks it up, and you have a bigger patch to see than if it's just sitting on wood. So I, every spring, will use my grain sacks and just line my shelves. It's also just a tidier way to go. So we trim them down, put them on, and then for now we will restock it with baskets and different things. We'll just sit there for now, a few winter squash. When that is done, we are tackling here our little shelf where we store our grain grinder and our Bosch mixer. Now, if you want to know exactly which ones I have, I will link to them down below. But this little table my man built for me, and it's just a nice little storage nook. Now, the wood is finished, so we can very easily wipe her down, put everything back. My grain mill actually spills out a bit of flour when it runs, so this table actually gets quite messy. So we're not only going to wipe the top shelf down, but we're also going to get the bottom shelf where flour sometimes drifts down to and spills over. give it a little wipe down, move my steam juicer, and just clean this little shelf up. I also like to wipe down my freezers. So the big freezer is where we store fruit and berries, baking, that sort of thing. And I just like to give the outsides a wipe down. The insides have already been sorted for spring. We've gone through things. So I do the big freezer, and then this little freezer is our meat freezer. And I also like to just give that bit of a wipe down. Now we move on to our canning room, cold room. And one of the first things we want to do is clean up the dirt, the root vegetables. We're going to sort through the potatoes, dig up all the beets, and we're just going to clear this out to make way for this year's harvest. Potatoes are something we store a lot of in this room, and we are just going to empty all the sacks with the leftover varieties into a box, and I can sort that later. But it's a mess in here, a lot of dirt, so we're just going to pile everything up, clear it up, get it hauled out of here. The sacks I will probably rinse down outside. We'll reuse those. We also have some beets that we need to pull out of here that are packed in soil, some leftovers. And then it's time to sort my jars. I like to go through and sort jars according to size and mouth size, so I know exactly where everything is. Here's some coming in from the kitchen. I like to go through and just get everything in one place. My small jars are on this smaller shelf, also sorted according to mouth size. I use glass canning lids. They're reusable. I also like to get those in the same place, make sure I have everything I need. It's all sorted, it's all organized, and when canning season comes, I know exactly where to go for both my lids and my rubber rings here. So I sort those, and that then goes down into storage as well as my canning rings. I like to store them on these, they're actually old wire coat hangers, and I will hang them up on these rings. They're all there and ready to go. So now we just organize, put things up, put things in place, and then we will start sweeping and then give these floors a good long mop. They are quite dirty, as you can imagine, with the potatoes in there and beets. We had carrots and parsnips packed in soil and bins in the canning room. So dirt gets tracked everywhere with this. So sweeping and mopping is a great way to go to clean it up and give it that fresh spring vibe. This floor, actually, we hopefully one day will tile it. Originally, we had left the concrete unsealed, which is a bad idea because then the concrete stains, and then when you do seal it, it actually looks dirty, which it isn't, but it has that look and that vibe. So we mop, we clean up, and this cold room, then with the floor being finished, will be ready to go for the new year, whether we're bringing in squash or onions, whether we're restocking the freezers, or if we're going into the canning room, whether we have fermented food or just need jars. We know exactly where they are, and we have the space that we need. Even our last year's canned food is all gathered into one place, and it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. Hope you enjoyed this homestead and pantry cleaning and organizing video. Thanks for joining me, folks. Leave comments or questions below, and we will see you next time.